Hello, everybody, and welcome back to On the Diamond and Into the Deep. I am your host, Mahal, as always, and we got a lot to talk about. It's been a while since our last episode, and we've got some pretty fun Mariners stuff going on, including some big news surrounding Matt Brash. We've got some massive news coming out today about Pedro de la Vega and the Sounders. It is March 5th. So if you are listening, you probably know what I am talking about. We've got the Kraken in a playoff push. We've got the Seahawks also with some fantastic, yet not so fantastic. We'll see. News today that is pretty big, and then we'll finish up with a little bit of around the MLB news and see what we can go with there. So, as always, we'll start with Mariners, so let's get into it, y'all. So, for the Mariners, let's start with some pitching news and information that has been happening this spring training. And let's start with the dude that has probably been the biggest story of the pitchers in camp, and that's Emerson Hancock. All right? And we didn't get to see Emerson Hancock's on TV, his first outing on TV, because they don't want to put it on TV or the webcast that they tried out last week. That was actually fantastic. If you watched and tuned into it, it was amazing. It was all you need in a spring training game. Score bug, some radio commentary that is your broadcasters, and it had the visuals. That's all you really need. So, again, wish they would do more. Sounds like they'll probably do more next year, which is good to hear, but wish there was more this year. But not a big deal. But Hancock, as I was saying, his biggest thing last year and since his injuries and whatever has been his velo. One of his things has been his velo has been down in the dumps. And he came out this spring training. He's looked great apparently from everything I've heard. And his velo in his first outing was up around 97. Which, when your velo was sitting at 90 to 92 last year, 95 to 97, that's a lot better. And that will make his changeup, which is his best pitch, play a lot better. And that's important for him. Again, the biggest thing for him is going to be staying healthy. And if he can find that slider cutter type pitch he has. If you read Daniel Kramer's article on MLB.com about Hancock, you know what I'm talking about. Velo is up. That slider cutter pitch is I don't know what you cut it. A slutter? I don't really want to call it that, though. Slider? I don't know what you call it. Anyway, that pitch, that's kind of like a slider cutter combo. So it's like, if you know what a slider looks like, it is a pitch that is going to break. If it's a right-handed pitcher, it's going to break down and away from right-handed hitter, so towards that left-handed batter's box. And a cutter is going to do a similar thing, but it's going to be a little bit higher velo, and it's going to have a little bit less break. It's going to just kind of be more fastball and then drop at the last second. Drop low and away also. So it's going to be kind of like the two of those. I would guess it's probably a little bit of vertical drop, some horizontal drop that looks very fastball heavy and is got more velo. But I don't actually know what it looks like. I haven't seen the pitch myself. I'm going down to Peoria this weekend, and Phoenix, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going down to Arizona this weekend for spring training, and I believe I will see him on either Friday in Mesa or Saturday in Scottsdale. Either way, follow the Twitter at Diamond and Deep, follow the TikTok at Diamond Deep, follow the Instagram at Diamond and Deep, and I will be posting clips probably from his outing on all of those and other stuff. So pay attention to those, follow if you haven't already. And I hope to see some solid things from Hancock. He had a great outing. I mean, 2 no-hit innings with 3, I think, strikeouts, maybe 4, 3 strikeouts is a good outing. That's all you're going to ask for. His changeup apparently looked good. Velo was up, as I said. But the biggest thing for him is staying healthy and that breaking ball. That's what the Mariners have been wanting. But this is the best he's looked in a while, and it's good to see. He wants to break camp with the team. He probably won't unless he looks really good. But, I mean, it's better to see him looking decent than looking poor. Our next pitcher is Bryce Miller, who's probably been the second biggest topic of pitchers this spring training, and that's for good reason. He added a splitter. Okay? Now, what is a splitter, you may ask? And a splitter is a pitch. Simply put, it is a pitch in baseball. I mean, if you didn't know that, cool. It's a pitch. The idea is that it's going to pair with your fastball. And I believe I talked about this last episode. But if you didn't listen, go listen number 1. But number 2, I'll go over here shortly. A splitter is going to look like a fastball. It's going to have a little bit less velo. So I believe Miller's splitter was sitting at about 90. And his velo was very good on his outing. I think he was sitting up to 97, 95 to 97 also. So I think that is important, especially this early, but we need to make sure his arm stays healthy, and he's doing that with the splitter by pacing himself and adding it to his repertoire. He's not going to just come out of the gates 30% splitters, as he said. But as I was saying, a splitter looks like a fastball. Last second, it's going to dramatically drop. One of the best splitters in the game is Kevin Gausman. He uses that splitter to his advantage. It pairs well with his fastball, makes his fastball tick up, makes it a better pitch in itself. Another pitcher with a great splitter forkball type thing is Kodai Senga's Ghost Fork. And it's his best pitch, probably. It is filthy. Another pitcher, and if you're looking at the Mariners, that has a splitter is both George Kirby and Logan Gilbert. And we saw it work very well for Logan Gilbert last year. It was filthy. It is mostly going to be used against left-handed hitters, as both Miller and Gilbert are right-handed pitchers. But it's got that last second drop. Now, why was this Bryce Miller thing important? Okay, his fastball last year was one of the best fastballs in the league. He had one of the best missed bat rates and thrown for strike rates of all fastballs. Right? And he's now throwing a splitter that will tick that fastball even up. It'll make that fastball even better. Especially if his fastball is sitting 96, 98, and then you're adding a splitter to that, that fastball is going to be better. That fastball is going to be ticking up. And here's an interesting stat. Okay? Now, Bryce Miller only threw, I originally heard 5. This is saying 3. He averaged 83 miles an hour on those splitters. Okay? Now, if you don't know, that's not especially fast, but that's fine. It's going to look like a fastball drop last second and get a hitter's timing off. Now, this splitter was filthy. Not only just looking at the video was this filthy, but that splitter, when you're looking at Stuff Plus, would have ranked 4th. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. Stuff Plus is a statistic, is a whatever you want to call it, that measures basically how good a pitch is, especially off-speed pitches it's useful with. It's a pitch that is going, or it's a stat that is going to tell you how good that pitch is based on its pure stuff, right? So Bryce Miller, his splitter, now he only threw it through 3 times, so that is a very, very small sample size, right? And that movement probably is going to be different than it would have been, but that splitter would have ranked 4th best in all of baseball last year. And that Kevin Gausman splitter that I just talked about a minute ago, yeah, that Miller splitter was right next to Kevin Gausman's splitter. One of the very best in baseball. Now, as I said, it is a small sample size, but this is something that Mariners fans should be excited for and should be watching for in every one of his starts. I believe he's going to be starting Thursday for the Mariners. I don't think it's on TV, but if you can get video of it in any way, go watch it, okay? That is a pitch that you should watch. That is a pitch that you need to be, not religiously watching, but you need to be paying attention to, because if it's good, Bryce Miller could be filthy. Okay? I mean filthy. He could become an elite pitcher. And actually, that game is going to be on TV if you have MLB TV, as the Angels are broadcasting it. But if you don't, there will be videos out there of his splitter, I'm sure. So pay attention to Twitter. I'll be retweeting some of those. I'll be quoting some of those for sure. Pay attention. This splitter could be massive for not only Bryce Miller, but the Mariners and their pitching staff as a whole. Now, speaking of pitches to pair with fastballs that could be nasty and have been lethal, let's talk some Logan Gilbert. So his fastball was the pitch that got hit the hardest last year. Okay, that is well known. If you watch the Mariners, that is something you know. His pitch that got hit hardest was his fastball. Now, how does a pitcher get away from that? Now, the best way, obviously, is to add a pitch that is going to pair next to that. Right? So we added a splitter last year. What did that work against? A lot of left-handed hitters. Now, he's working on a cutter, which I talked about very shortly earlier. And it's going to be similar to a slider. It's going to break down a little bit away. And it is going to be a pitch that'll have decent velo. Going to be closer to a fastball. Going to look like a fastball. Break at the last second. Right? So that four-seamer is going to pair with a cutter now, which, if it's correct, it's going to bring the fastball usage down. If it's good, it's going to bring the fastball usage down. It'll probably bring your slider down a little bit too. I would guess your split stays about the same and your curve stays about the same, but that cutter paired with the fastball is a thing that will bring down the batted ball percentage and the slugging percentage against Logan Gilbert's fastball, which was a pitch that opponents slugged 491 off of last year. 491. So you add a cutter to that, they slug a lot lower ideally, and we are thriving. We have got a pitch that pairs with it, that adds to Gilbert, and we could be looking at an elite Logan Gilbert. And he has already been pretty close to elite. But we're talking about a dude that will be fighting not only for Cy Young votes, but for potentially a Cy Young. As this dude is already underrated, but he is brilliant. Logan Gilbert, y'all. Watch him. This pitching staff is filthy. Now next we'll briefly touch on Jackson Kowar, who has been a talk at camp. He did actually pull up with a little bit of an injury. I believe it's some fatigue, soreness. So I don't think he got shut down, but he's been slowed down, kind of eased back. But he's been talked about. He's looked good in the games he's played in, which is awesome to see. And hopefully you see great things from him, as they kind of need some bullpen arms as we transition here into Brash. As Matt Brash, yeah, we were losing it last week on Twitter. And I don't mean me in general. I just mean Mariners Twitter in general. Right? Yikes. So, if you didn't hear, Matt Brash got shut down about a week and a half ago with some arm soreness. Now, didn't actually get released where it was until later. And they were being quiet about it. They were saying nothing. Service was on the radio with Brock and Sock on 710, and he said not where it was, other than it was in the arm. They were being quiet. They were being careful. They were not wanting to say any words. And then Ryan Divish broke an article. And in this article, it said that there were league sources that believed that Brash could be out for significant time with an elbow injury. And if you follow baseball, you know that a pitcher and an elbow injury is bad news. That is what leads to Tommy John. That is what leads to significant time gone. Luckily, we get Friday an update, and Matt Brash is back throwing as of today, which is good. There were no setbacks today. Sounds like he's feeling a lot better. Now, we're not out of the woods, as Scott Service said. Stuff could still come up. So pay attention. Definitely pay attention. But this is good news. That means that he probably is not going to miss a whole lot of time. Ideally, he's going to miss the opening day in probably about a month, I would guess, as they're not going to want to rush him. But as I was saying with Jackson Kowar, this is why this bullpen becomes important now. You're going to not have that three-headed monster right at the start. It's going to take a second to get there. And you're not going to want to rush him. And if we have to rush him, that's when problems could occur. But hopefully we won't have to, and I doubt they will. They're going to be very careful with him. And it's very good news. It's at the point where missing a few weeks, missing a month is probably the best news we are going to get. So that is good. Now, in other news around the Mariners, let's talk Josh Rojas, shall we? I love me some Josh Rojas. I've been saying this for a while. Josh Rojas is a dude, y'all. He's a dude. Now, he's not a superstar, but you can't expect him to be. He's not going to be elite defensively, but also, you can't expect him to be. But what he is doing is he is pulling the ball more with some swing changes from the Mariners. He's elevating the ball more, and he's hitting for a little bit more power. Now, if this dude, Josh Rojas, has a good season, we could be thinking some nice, sweet things come October. We could be having a lot of fun if he has a good season. Now, I don't even want to talk about Luis Urias because, yikes. Urias has, yikes. I mean, comes into camp unfit, comes into camp, just not ready. Sore shoulder, just finally starting to throw across the diamond today. And he looks like Uncle Rico out there. God, you're a dude that needs to have a bounce back season, and that's what you come up with? We gave away Isaiah Campbell for you, who's a solid reliever, and you just are bleh. God. But Josh Rojas, traded Seawald for him, and I liked what I saw last year. He looked good after coming to the Mariners, and he's looked good so far this spring. Now, take everything in spring training with a grain of salt, but he's looking good. And for me, if a dude is being successful, that means, number one, he is, especially hitters, that means, number one, he's hitting mistakes, which any good hitter should do, and that's something that the Mariners not necessarily failed to do last year, but how many times did you see them have an elevated fastball, elevated breaking ball that was kind of hung there for them, that they were just like, whiff, whiff, whiff. It's like that one meme where it's just like the fastball going through the three hitters, and they're like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like that. That's what it felt like all last year. Fastballs right down the middle, and they're just like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Sliders blown away. They're like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But to see a Josh Rojas punishing those mistakes, and a Mitch Garver also doing the same thing, along with the other Mitch Haniger, we got Mitches, y'all. Like, looking great. The final results haven't been there, but that's been dudes that probably won't even be on the roster, and by probably I mean definitely. So that's not a worry. But pay attention to Josh Rojas, y'all. I'm dead serious. Pay attention to Josh Rojas. This dude could be massive for the Mariners, and he could be key. Now, looking at a couple other big leaguers, we got Dom Canzone, who's looked fantastic, and he's been a talk of camp. And I said this about a couple other dudes earlier, but this dude has been, on a hitting side, the talk of camp. He gained a lot of strength, a lot of muscle, and so did Cole Emerson, first round pick last year, who gained 20 pounds of muscle in one offseason. He got to the point where the Mariners were like, yo, dude, chill. And, great. Reminds me of Kelnick. Great. But I love Cole Emerson. But back to Canzone. He set up a weight room in his basement with his brother all off season, and he was just pumping iron. He's put on a lot of muscle. He looks great. He looks leaner, but also stronger. And he made a couple swing changes that should be and are sounding like they've been advantageous so far from what I've heard. Again, I will be down there this weekend, so I will see what I can see. Um, I'm excited to see a lot of dudes, but Canzone is definitely one of those dudes that I'm really excited to see. Another dude that's looked great is Cade Marlowe, who has had solid results this week and this spring so far. Again, take results with a grain of salt, but to see him punishing baseballs and punishing mistakes is good. That's, again, something that I personally like to see. But again, take everything in spring training with a grain of salt. And do you know how big a grain of salt is? If you don't know, very small. I don't mean one of those gigantic, like really flaky salts. I mean one of those really tiny, like sea salt ones that you get in like the salt dispensers, you know what I mean? Yeah, so like take everything with one of those grains of salts. Now, prospects wise, this is where I get excited. I have a lot of fun following prospects, and I mean, these dudes have been fun. Harry Ford, let's start with him. Harry Ford. I mean, come on, Harry. Elite, bro. Elite. Your pop time is elite. You're just gunning dudes from your knees. You're like, oh, what? The batter's in my way? Whoosh! He bends around him, slings it down to third. He's like, yeah, you're toast. Then it's like a batter later, and he's got deuce in a second. He's like, bing! And then that dude's gone. Like, absolutely toasted. Another dude looking great is Cole Young, who has just been raking. He had an absolute tank of a homer, and he's been raking. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I said this about Mitch Garver when he got here. Mitch Garver rakes. Now what is Cole Young doing? He's raking. He's looking fantastic. And defensively, he's looking brilliant and fantastic too. Another dudes that are raking, Locklear and Bliss. Again, these are dudes that you want to see. These are the young dudes. These are the future. The future is bright, y'all. And take everything with a grain of salt, but when a prospect is succeeding, that's exciting. And Johnny Farmello, drafted last year, hits a triple off an actual major leaguer, a dude that is going to be in the majors this year. It's a pitcher that has been in the majors, that will be in the majors, and he just rips a triple off. He's like, looking like a Lightning McQueen around the bases. He gets another hit. This dude was drafted last year, y'all. He's 18 or 19 years old, and he's just cruising through a major league spring training when he hasn't even had a full year of pro ball under his belt. It's insane. It is insane. The prospects are showing out. The young dudes are showing out. Cole Emerson put on 20 pounds, as I said. He sounds like he's looking great. Felnin also sounds like he's looking great. If you heard Julio Rodriguez talking about it, I mean, Julio's reaction said it all. The dude is special. Felnin Celestine is special, y'all. He's special. Another dude is Las Montes. Again, hitting tanks, looking special. Michael Arroyo had a hit today. These dudes are all prospects. They're all young, and they are just doing fantastic things in spring training, and you love to see it. And obviously take it with a grain of salt, as I said, but it's so much fun to see them doing well, and they are doing well. You'd rather them doing well than doing bad, and I love to see it. Now, I'm heading down to Arizona this weekend. I will try to get some stuff done. I will definitely be posting on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Again, follow all those at Diamond and Deep. We might have a little bit of YouTube content also. That is also at Diamond and Deep. So follow, pay attention. We've got some stuff fun planned, hopefully. And it'll be fun. I'm excited to see stuff. I'm excited to see the boys playing, and it'll be a lot of fun. Now, Mariners need another bullpen arm, I think. And other dudes have talked about this. Other people have talked about this. But Ryan Stanek, still unsigned, coming off a little bit of a down year last year, but 2 years ago, he was brilliant for the Astros. And this dude could be fun in the Mariners bullpen. You add him to this bullpen mix, and I feel really, really, really good about this bullpen. I already feel really good about it. But I go from really good to really good. Right? That's exciting. Now, J.D. Davis also could make sense, as Chapman was signed by the San Francisco Giants, and I mean, it's not a big deal either way. Oh, no, they didn't get him. Okay, go next. See what else you can do. Now, let's move on to the Sounders. A little bit of Seattle sports wraparound here. Starting with the Sounders, some bad news came out today on Pedro de la Vega, who is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a hamstring. And yeah, I mean, how do we keep getting hamstring injuries? I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but how is it at the point that every player is getting a hamstring injury or cramping? You shouldn't be at that point. But also, why are we playing this dude when he was already not at 100%? Why are we playing him 60 minutes? He played 30 minutes a week ago, and you're pushing him to double that a week later because you don't have anyone else that can play. This dude is one of your best players. You have to protect him. And sure, you have to play him too, but you have to first and foremost protect him and make sure he stays healthy because he is a crucial part of this team now. Crucial. And he's now out 2 months-ish? That can't happen. You cannot have that happening. And if this training staff and the strength staff is at the point where we're getting hamstring injuries every game, that also cannot happen. But you want to know what else can't happen? You can't be not scoring on 24 shots. That also can't happen. And you also can't be having your spacing in the midfield going from left to right, east to west, north to south, having both Obed and Atencio. Now, they got to be communing, they got to be together, but, I mean, you shouldn't have those two and De La Vega all on that right side. You shouldn't have all three of them all the way deep. You should have all three of them all the way forward, all the way on the left. You have to have balance. You have to have that. And if you were playing a better team, you were getting tiki-taka around, bing, 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 around those midfielders. They're getting played through, and it's going to be a 2-on-2 plus the keeper, 4-on-2 plus the keeper, whatever it was. You were going to get played around, and you were going to get scored on if that was a better team. Simply put, the spacing was terrible. Everything was terrible when I was looking at midfield and where their positioning was, where their spacing was. You cannot have that much space. You cannot leave that much space open. Defensively, though, great game. Other than that, great game. But my wonder is, should there be tactics changed? Why are we just putting crosses into the PK spot and the 6-yard box every play? Why are we not making cutbacks? Why are we not ripping shots from different areas? And as much as I loved layer 2 shot, like that was something different. That's something that we need to see more of. Why are we not cutting in and ripping ones? But he also had a Pedro de la Vega on the top of the box wide open that all you have to do is lay it off. He rips one and you probably have a goal. Take the high percentage shots alongside some of those riskier shots. You have to find the balance. You can't just cross the ball. That can't happen. That's just not going to work. Any of the best teams in the world, they don't do that. That's just not how it's done. On to the Kraken. The playoff push has been thwarted, pretty much. It's now or never. You're 7 points out. Like, come on. We have to be better. It's not been good enough this year. They are about to trade Alex Wenberg, it sounds like, which, I mean, it sucks, but also he's not one of my favorite players. But he's also a dude that's been with them since the start, and that's valuable. And it sucks that he probably will be gone. But hopefully you get something fun in return, and that'll be an opening for Shane Wright to come up and get some time, which is good also to see. But we'll see what happens there. He didn't play last night as he was precautionally held out in case a trade happens. Now moving on to the Seattle Seahawks. We had big news today. Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, Uncle Will Dissly, all cut. All before the June 1st. So that means all the money is this year. That means we have some cleared now, but also not that much cleared now. Overall, they cleared $34.5 million. Yeah, that's not bad. But you're only left with about, I think, 16 million in cap space now. And I've seen people worrying about that, but I mean, I'd rather take that hit this year than next year. You're not going to compete this year. probably. It's first year for head coach. Take that hit now. Use the money next season and go get dudes next season and have a good season 2025-2026 year. Now, around the MLB, Ronald Acuna had a little bit of a knee worry there. Goes to LA, gets it checked out, gets an MRI. Sounds like he's okay. But that's a worry for Braves fans. He's one of the best players. That's a worry for anyone. He's one of the best players in the world right now. He's fun to watch. He's got energy. He's fun. He's a dude that you like to watch. So hopefully it's not bad. Now, Zach Wheeler of the Phillies got a massive extension. So good for him. Doesn't really mean much to me. He won't be a free agent next year. But again, Mariners have a lot of pitching. Doesn't seem like they want to spend money. So yeah, good. Now, just to wrap things up, there's been a lot of pitchers looking great. Brash had good news. Josh Rojas, pay attention. Prospects have been fantastic this spring, so keep paying attention. Hopefully they keep showing out. Dom Canzone, Cade Marlowe, both been great this spring. Both have heard great things about them. I am down in Arizona this weekend. I might be able to get something out, but probably not. Ryan Stanek, JD Davis, both dudes that could make sense for this team. Ryan Stanek a lot more, in my opinion, than JD Davis, especially as I like Josh Rojas a lot. Pedro de la Vega going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. Terrible news. Diggs, Disley, Adams all cut by the Seahawks. Kraken are shopping Alex Wenberg. Fresh hair, but yeah, whatever. Acuna knee, Wheeler extension. Yeah, so that'll wrap it up. Thank y'all for listening. Again, follow me at Diamond and Deep on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. At Diamond and Deep on the YouTube. Listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. At On the Diamond and Into the Deep, a Seattle sports podcast. Go listen, go watch, go follow, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do it all. Support. Thank y'all for listening. I will see you next week. Peace, y'all.